All right, hello. Welcome to the Football Guys show. My name is Biola Obiwole, and of course, you know how we do it. We do it live every Saturday on Boom Radio, and I am never alone on the show. I am with Bayo Salao today, even though he's here for a brief spell before he picks up a hamstring injury and has to come off. But it's allowed. It's allowed. And of course, if you were listening earlier today, you know that Bayo does the SerieA show, which goes on at 10 to 10:30 every Saturday on Boom Radio. But of course, it's all about football, as we say on the Football Guys show. And you can follow us on Twitter at the Football Guys. That's TheFootBallGuys. You can follow me at Ogbeni Biola at OGBENIBIOLA. I'm not alone on the show, also via the phone lines. Namdi joins us, and it's been a while, so it would be great to have him around on the show. But let me start off with Bayo. Bayo, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty much okay. It's always a great feeling coming on set and sharing the same studio with you. And what a way to actually start my weekend. Of course, it's been football since the hour of 10, and now we're about to eat the airwaves again, talking about football. That's what we love to do when it's weekend time, and I'm also glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, in the Serie A, we know the big game, Juventus Milan. But besides the Serie A, outside the Serie A, what game are you looking forward to the most this weekend?
Pretty much, they're quite interesting games.
Don't say CAF Confederations Cup.
That's why in the Serie A, come on.
No, I mean, which game in Europe?
Or
around the world.
Oh, around Europe now, not necessarily
or
Syria.
around the world, yes.
Around the world.
Yes.
Quite a
Don't
number
say
of
CAF
games.
Champions League.
I mean,
CAF
everybody seems to be interested.
Anything African is banned.
Everybody seems to be interested again in whatever is happening, in La Liga. Since the departure of Ronaldo, a couple of seasons ago, of course, Messi is out. So it almost looks like it's going to be just battle of the spring chickens, permit me. But of course, in England, of course, so much to actually say for. I'm sure the other big teams, that I think can do well. Liverpool, of course, is the team I'm trying to follow up on after what they actually earned in the course of the midweek. And you can't but, consider some top clubs like Manchester City too, who I think stand a better chance to actually make themselves, some of the things to look out for in terms of a title winning, talking about the Premier League title this time.
Yeah.
And I would be doing myself sort of disservice. Ronaldo here came in the first time out, and we saw what he did was like a pre-mini party. I'm hoping that he continues that stead. And we'll see if he won't, because he's got the pedigree, he's got the clouds, and I'm sure Manchester United will have so much to actually prove. Particularly from what happened in the course of the week, a lot of persons weren't too comfortable with United not getting the deserved result against a team like Young Boys. If you look at ratings for everything that it is worth, I do not think that Manchester United is supposed to struggle against Young Boys, even though they played it from home. And a lot of Manchester United fans have actually come, putting the whole blame at the desk of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm not too comfortable with all of that, and I have my own reservations with regards to that.
Okay.
But these are some of the things I think we're looking forward to this weekend.
Okay. Let's do a Champions League review first of all. Namdi, welcome to the show. It's been a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that we would use this opportunity to address the elephant in the room, which Bayo has graciously helped us to paint out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we're both Man United fans, so it's a discussion we've had to deal with for the past 5 days or so, and until the West Ham game, we'll keep on dealing with it. Would you put the blame of the Young Boys' defeat solely on Ole? Let me first give you my opinion. I think there are 3 factors to blame here. First, the pitch. I thought the pitch was abysmal, and no one should actually be playing on that pitch. Secondly, the red card.
The pitch is safe, Biola.
Mr. Rogers is looking at me
I'm waiting for you.
The red card, I think, was a factor in the way the game turned out. But the third factor, I would say, is Ole's decisions. His tactics were also key. Now Mr. Rogers agrees with me. But I mean, obviously Lingard gave them the goal, which the handicap. But now give me your opinion on it, because you're very much of an Ole in guy. So what do you think about the performance? What do you think about the match? And what do you think about Ole's decision making to sit back against a minnowing Young Boys team?
First of all, let me clear one misrepresentation you think. I'm not an Ole in guy.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're not an Ole in guy.
Hello, Biola?
You're not an Ole guy.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm
We can
not
hear
only
you. Yeah.
yes, I'm a support whichever manager is at the helm of your club at the moment.
Fantastic. I love
Okay.
Don't
that.
don't fantasize about other managers and don't regret the ones that have gone. Live
Mm.
in the present.
Mm.
That's how I believe sports should be watched. If this is Ole's fault, then people shouldn't also have trouble giving Ole credit for wins. You can't say Ronaldo is the reason United won against Newcastle and come back and tell me Ole is the reason they lost against Young Boys. Let's call
Fantastic.
it spade a spade. It's one of those games.
Mm.
The red card was a factor. Red cards happen. You know, many things are involved. This is what first Champions League game, first game into the season. You have a situation where the team that finished last season with momentum, which of course had Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood as the trident up front, is not there. You had the backspread midfield, which allows the midfield to bring out an attack and allows Bruno to have freedom. It wasn't there. You have a lot of players coming for injury, and you say, yes, it's young boys, yes, you should young boys with your team B. Wrong. If you had watched the Swiss League last season and you watch it this season, they are basically an upgrade of Leeds United. Rock
Yeah.
and roll football, halfway between Liverpool and Leeds. High energy, high intensity. And you didn't see a lot of that against United because they were actually a bit stifled. You know, they weren't used to that level of physicality.
Mm.
That card here to be something. One, there was a ship that went out there to contain that rock and roll football. You've seen only this number of times. You use the fullbacks to push up, keep their fullbacks honest, keep them at home, prevent attacks down the wings, force them to come now and trap them in the middle and swing the counter. Very straightforward, very simple. Unfortunately, you also have the added, what do I call it, added problem of United being the bigger team and having to have possession and having to control the game and not being able to depend on counter attack as to be expected if they are playing a team that was at their level and at home. You
Yeah.
know, all those things are. Look, let's talk about and the elephant room nobody wants to address, and I'll address it. Every season I hear Arsenal fans moaning and whining about refereeing, and I think they are crybabies. But if I'm to be honest, there is something to be said about the fact that referees seem to allow quote unquote smaller teams kick bigger teams all around the park. We saw, I keep forgetting his name, the defensive midfielder for Young Boys, who matched it down on a goal attempt on a second yellow, and he was given a warning by the referee, which was why Ronaldo came to the first line. Most people don't realize that he wasn't coaching. He came there to berate the referee.
Yeah.
So you have to, it emboldens a team to keep tackling roughly when there is no consequence and no sanction. And yes, the second goal was more or less Lingard having given it to them. Was that under pressure? A lot of times, collapsed midfield. But if I'm to be blatantly honest, very, very honest, I think the defensive pairing dealt very easily with them when they got to the box. It was just that they seemed to have a lot of position United half because there was no defensive midfield. There was a big collapse there. It was just to be Fred, who had an outstanding game, but because of that lack of McTominay beside him to pick up and move things, you wouldn't notice. So look, don't be surprised to see the 4-0 at Old Trafford. I wouldn't bat an eyelid. It's the first game of the Champions League. Only job security is only an issue because the press make it so. Beginning of the season 1989, same headlines. Critical time, time's up, it's the league or nothing, or £7 million Peggy. After spending 7 million, so much money in transfer market, this was the summer before the 1989 season.
Yeah.
If he doesn't perform, Peggy has to go. Same papers, December 1989. Tada Peggy, time's up. We rated him, talked about where he hadn't done well, completely ignored his success at Aberdeen, just like only success at Mulder is always ignored. You always hear Cardiff. It's the same thing, it's the same agendas. You know, I've been supporting United since 89. It's not a big deal for me. I've this cycle before. I'm not a of people being recycled. It's so sad that most of the people you have as pundits in the media right now are people who were players or fans of clubs that spent their whole childhood miserable at the hands of friends.
I say these things all the time, Inamdi.
Except their agenda. No, it's true. Look at the guy. It's Alan Shearer who wished to sign and envies Andy Cole for taking that offer instead of him and becoming the guy who wants. It's everybody else, an entire generation of Liverpool stars who, for Scholes and Roy Keane, remind they never won the league every day on set. You know, we're talking about Ole is under pressure. Somebody won the league last season and bought Grealish for 100 million, and nobody's talking about he should be under pressure.
He won.
Champions League.
He won his match 6-3.
No. I think that's just one out of, I mean, many
Yeah.
more matches to come. I mean, this is my
My
personal
point is,
opinion. Yes,
there's
finish
never
up.
any pressure. There's never any pressure on Guardiola. Arsenal were the highest spenders in transfer market. News
Yes,
that's quickly from
and there's no pressure on
nobody talking
Ateta.
about the bad decisions they made. We pretend like Tuchel did not arrive and meet a whole bunch of what 300 plus million pounds of hardware that Lampard had imported for him and kept when Chelsea somehow in January escaped a transfer ban. We forget the fact that Liverpool have consistently had a team that, look, barring the injury of Van Dijk, one of the most consistent teams with Salah, who is a 30 plus goal guy all season. So you have all these teams that
Yeah.
nobody's put on them to win anything. But Ole, who can always look and say, this season has been better than the last. People blatantly ignore it and say, big teams have to win cups. Look, I'll remind you, after Busby did the whole 58 Munich tragedy, won the title in 58 along with the European Cup, won some other titles and left. United had a bad year, he came back, led the ship, he left. They got relegated, then they went to the revolving door of managers. You had Lumakari, you had Romatic, you had Tommy Doherty, you had Jesse, barely giving them FA Cup runs and stuff like that. No titles. Till Ferguson came and the next title came in 1996. So I that's why I really am not a fan of the revolving door. With the exception of David Moyes, I was not impressed with the quick signings of either Van Gaal and Mourinho. Van Gaal was pretty painful to me because a lot of the Mourinho boys are gone. But if you look at the fact that the boys Van Gaal gave a break, your Marshalls, your Rashford, they are all still mainstays in the team, which means that there was something Van Gaal was doing. Look, he wasn't losing games. He was drawing 0-0 with 73% possession. It was frustrating. It wasn't the end of the world, you know. But United was still fresh off the heels of the victory in 2013, in Ferguson's last season as the coach winning the EPL, and the nostalgia was still there. Everybody thought they were still that team. The way Nigerians society to think that the ESL is supporting happens everywhere.
Okay.
Truth is, Ole needs to be given some slack. I don't expect the media to give him. I don't expect the fans to give him. But it will be highly responsible if the United board bow to social media pressure and use that to make their decisions.
Well,
I think I quite agree with Inamdi. 1 minute. I've also understand that young boys have only once spent more than 3 million on a player. I mean, he has rightly put it out the way I think should have been put out. A lot of club sides that I think they're also in the running for the title, just like anyone would imagine. And you see what they do, and he has actually put everything out there. Pretty much, I also want to say that in the event of young boys, were quite, vigorous. They had this uppity, and a lot of persons have termed that win as a coronational return for them. So they don't look like an easy team like everybody think they are. Yes, they've been out of it for a while, but United, I think that they should be cut some slack. Yes, Ronaldo was there, but Ronaldo cannot do it all alone. It was a few mistakes, which normally coaches do make. I want to agree that Ole would make mistakes, and once he makes mistakes, what he needs is support of the fans, and that's what he's not getting. And that's why I'm not particularly happy. And Inamdi has taken most of my words out of my mouth because if the truth, compare only with what other managers are going through, too much, on Ole as a manager. He needs time, and United fans should start realizing that that man needs all the time and all the support to actually achieve the greatness they've always wanted to, deserved or achieved in the past as a football club.
Well, I mean, you can say the United slogan, which is hated, adored, but never ignored. It's something that you can always say comes with the job, right? The pressure of having to deliver. The media will be there to put that pressure on you. The fans will be there to put that pressure on you, and unfortunately, Alex Ferguson's legacy will be there to put that pressure on you.
This is an unfashionable view of the British media across every facet you want to look at it. I do not support
they are
in any
terrible.
form.
Yeah, well,
They are terrible.
Go on,
Can
Namdi.
I say this? The British media are terrible, We forget very quickly the amount of abuse and the amount of hounding and persecution Raheem Sterling has placed in their hands. I find it hard to find a footballer in the world that has received the rubbish Raheem Sterling has received at the hands of the British media. It's disgraceful. And you put it side by side with Joe Foden or any other white player, you find things like Foden buys bomb for a house. You find Lovera flashes cash on expensive $12 million, ignores it for his mother. Raheem Sterling put a tattoo of a gun on his leg. He's a gunman. He was on goal scoring spree that time. They said they linked it to a story on gun violence. They put pictures of telling that are not related to a case and write footballer and write, this is the Daily Sun
Well,
or
we know where this is coming from, Namdi. It's the Daily Mail.
So when you all dailies, just leave them.
Yeah,
But you put at them. Look, yes, the racist dailies, and I've also called out people like Top Sports and people like Paul Mercy, people that should not have anywhere on. They should even the one that they told them to do, which is around the grounds, which was their flagship. People like Chris Kamara not knowing goals at the spot in the stadium he was in. That just tells you the of competence and why it should ignore them not concerned. But the truth is that social media is one of the main things that is doing this. A lot of people have voices that don't have voices. Back in the day, there was no way you're going to hear the opinion of a 12-year-old in a basement in Stockport pretending to be a United fan when he's really a City fan, and he puts an ABI and self mature FC, and he's not a United fan, and all he does is bad United. You have the Tottenham fan Flex, you have a Nottingham fan McGoldrick, you have Rant and Pants, you have the these are all London boys. People don't even know that Rant and Pants is the nephew of the guy that does Arsenal fan television. This is just a cartel, it's a business. These guys who have seen that negativity gives them clicks and clicks gives them money. They're not interested in anything. And the more they breed that negativity, the more they can get it, the more they can get competition. And they will always get support from FIFA playing small boys who think that what they played on Top 11, Football Manager, or FIFA is what the real world is. They think it's when you buy players with ratings 1994, you'll get a winning team. Haaland was rated 65 on FIFA when he became a world sensation. Mason Greenwood is still rated 78. So I guess, this is one of the deadliest finishers we either put, if not the deadliest finisher in the world right now. So, all this, and they can get clicks. And this is the negativity. You go on your Sky News, who are they calling to talk on behalf of United? Rand. You go again on BBC, who are they calling? McGoldrick. You never find them calling actual guys like Andy Mitten to come and talk about what's happening, It took a lot of fraudulent claims by Guillaume Balag to be exposed before Fabrizio.
Balag is the biggest fraud. Well, let's move on. Let's.
Sorry, but my point is, social media is actually what's the word? It's exaggerating the actual noise. There is no threat to Ole's job at United. But these people can create a toxic atmosphere. The fans are thinking at the stadium. You realize that most of the people who are going to the ground to watch the matches are not the 12-year-olds in basement shooting rubbish.
Yeah. Well, it's we can go on and talk about. We can dedicate the whole show to the British media, and the trolls will never be done. But let's move on to other Champions League results. Of course, the good thing for Man United though is that Villarreal and Atalanta played out a 2-2 draw, which means that the group is still wide open. But let's go to Group A and talk about the noisy neighbours who conceded a hat-trick of goals from Nkunku, but he was still on the losing side. That game ended 6-3. Any thoughts on that before we talk about Messi and his merry band of strikers? Any thoughts on Man City's performance?
Leipzig came to Manchester last year and hit for 5. They are a team who plays just like Leeds United. They come out, they're all attack, and if you're too brave against either of the Manchester sides, they are going to break. It's the honest fact. The way both Manchester sides play, you come out to attack, they're going to kill you. You have to sit back, defend, two backs of all, pack the bus for 90 minutes to hope to get something, and be really physical, be really violent. But if you're going to come out and try and attack against any of these sides, you're going to pay dearly. Leipzig got a bit too cocky, and I guess they didn't understand that they had made this mistake in the same city less than 12 months ago, and they did it.
Well, PSG drawing against Club Brugge by one goal, 1-0. And I unfortunately didn't watch this game, but a lot of people spoke about how Mbappe seemed to be the main guy who was really trying to get things done, and Messi sort of like Neymar and Messi were trying to do their own thing. And let me do a quick substitution here, Namdi. Dean joins us. Bayo has had to leave, but Dean, we spoke about this game before, but any chance that we could see a change in the situation for PSG in terms of how the results went against Club Brugge, or is it a case of it's more of this to come in the future for PSG?
Thank you, Biola. Well, I think from the 2 games we've seen Messi played, we would say that Messi hasn't been convincing in a PSG shirt, but then, early days, we can't just judge just yet. However, if I'm going to judge based on his performance at the Champions League, um, at best, his performance was abysmal, and that is not good for PSG, and it is not good for Messi's legacy. Like I explained to you the other time, when I watched the game, in my head, I'm like, what's wrong with Messi? This guy is supposed to be the star. That is what PSG paid him for. I mean, he's good, but then they need someone because they know they were going to lose. They're either going to lose Mbappe at the end of the season or not, but then they still have a superstar, someone that will bring in revenue and probably bring in the Champions League for them. But then that particular game, the first game of the Champions League, it was trash. He was trash in the game, honestly speaking. I watched the full game, and there was a point where there were many points where he was just walking on the pitch. He wasn't even making any effort.
Yeah, but
And
we
then
know
I told
Messi
you
always
there
walks around. That's a given. Messi
yeah,
walks around
he
a
was.
lot.
Yeah, but I know. But then this is a new team. You are supposed to change your game, or at least try to improve from where you left off. You get me? We already know people criticize him for usually just walking around the pitch, but then you are in a new team, and forgive me to say this, but we know PSG are a fast-paced team. That's how they walk. That's how they roll. And then Messi was just walking stylishly on the pitch, and then the players were not even trying to pass him the ball, mainly because they felt like he was not his mind. It's as if his mind was not even in the team. He was just playing. If they give me the ball, fine. If they don't, it's fine. And then there were so many times when he was found close to their 18-yard area, not the opposition's 18-yard area. And I'm like, is this Messi? Is this what he's supposed to do in PSG? So, well, I hope Pochettino is going to find a way to press him and make him understand that, okay, bro, this is a new league for you. This is a new start for you. You should put more. I feel like he should put in more effort. He shouldn't just feel like, yeah, I'm a superstar, and then you guys just have to deal with it like that. So, yeah, let's just see how it goes from here onward. But so far, I'm not impressed, and I think a lot of people also are not impressed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look forward to seeing how things pan out in that group because they got Man City and RB Leipzig to go through as well in that group. In Group B, Liverpool were surprising. I say surprising because the game turned out that way after a while. But Liverpool ended up winning by 3-2. Fantastic goal from Jordan Henderson against AC Milan. Atletico Madrid against Porto snooze fest as expected. I don't think there's any news there. Group C, we saw Besiktas lose at home to Borussia Dortmund and two teenagers, Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland, getting the goals there. Sporting Lisbon lost at home to Ajax by 5-1. Sebastian Haller getting 4 goals, racing into the highest goal scorer position already. And if he keeps this up, even if they don't go through the group stages, I think he could win the Golden Boots. But Namdi, talking about that group, Ajax winning, Dortmund winning, Besiktas and Sporting losing, and we look at this group, right? I think it's just as open as the Liverpool group, in the sense that we know that Dortmund should go through to the next round. Worst case scenario in second position. Just the way in Liverpool's group they're expected to go through to the next round. But apart from that, you can't really tell who is going where anymore because Sporting Lisbon, as we know, best in Portugal, and they have a really decent squad, at least based on the way they play in the Premiership. They seem to be very dominant there. Ajax as well, best in Holland, and they've got quality players all around the pitch that can make a difference. But if you're going to make a prediction, really, how do you see this group going?
Oh, Biola, I'll make a very quick prediction, and I have a totally different view on the whole match situation. But let me say this. Yes, Ajax and Dortmund are expected to go through, but beware of false start. Remember that phrase very carefully. Beware of false start. Ajax always have good runs in the tournament. Always have good runs. Dortmund have a beautifully talented team. They're young, very talented. My worry is that 1 or 2 injuries could put pay to this entire team. That's my fear. But beware of false starts. Don't write off anybody yet. There's still, you might still end up with Ajax in Europa. Just take my word on that. Beware of false starts. With the Messi situation, can I say this? Yeah. I don't think Messi has been a flop at PSG. I think PSG has been a flop. You have
PSG
a situation where you have
Messi?
3 of them have been a flop. I'm not Messi. I mean, PSG has been a flop. You have Mbappe, Messi, Neymar. They all do the same thing. They want the ball. They bring it in and make things happen. The problem is this. At Barcelona, there was an understanding which they don't have yet in PSG. If Messi drifts into that channel on the left, whoever is in Mbappe's position knows he has to get into the 18-yard box, and whoever is in Neymar's position knows he needs to be at the far post. And whoever is in the center midfield, be Verratti, anybody, knows he needs to pull up and get ready to be a man to release the ball, the way you would see Rakitic or Busquets do. But you have a PSG where their midfielders are content to sit on the halfway line till they've had possession in the opposing half for a bit of time. You have a case where they depend on putting the ball in space for Mbappe to run at people. One, they always put the ball for Mbappe to run at people in channels, and he either cuts in and shoots or cuts in and blazes over because there's never really anybody that can keep up with the pace. Sometimes, once in a while, holds the ball up, lay back for Neymar. The problem you have is who is in charge of the attack? Is it long balls from the middle? Is it Messi driving the ball? Is it Mbappe driving down the channel? You know, I have a feeling that if you played Di Maria, Neymar, and Messi and you bench Mbappe, you would have a more solid lineup because everybody would hang around outside the box and Messi would play his preferred role of false nine. Both Neymar and Di Maria to run from behind the playmaker into the box, make late runs, and cause that damage that Barcelona causes to people. The problem is that Mbappe is not the late runner guy. Likes to hang in that space between the fullback and the right centre back and dash into that channel just on the right side of the box, on the right side of the box, which is the left side of PSG. Get the ball in the channel, use his first touch, change direction, and beat whoever is there for pace.
Yeah.
Problem is you can't do that with Messi. And if you're going to do that, when it doesn't work out, you have to realize you have to jump back and get Messi in the game. PSG is not getting Messi in the game. Messi is not going to come and win tackles. Yes, he does that from time to time, but that's usually when it's a team effort, when the team is pressing.
Yeah.
PSG does not play high play. PSG does not win the ball in the final third. PSG does not win the ball in the middle. They are willing to let you attack it deep and try and bring a counter with Mbappe. This makes people like Messi, who can drive with the ball down the middle, very redundant for large portions of the game. Considering the fact that in the half just outside the 18 is Neymar's position, Neymar receives the ball well and wants to do a 180 of turns and movements to see who he can either play into space or beat his man and shoot. So I refuse to believe that Messi is a flop. I think the team needs to be coached around his style of play, or they need to rejig the personnel. Or after a while, Messi will adapt. Don't forget, he's come from Barcelona, a Barcelona that, as at the time he left, was at his weakest, and he was pulling all the strings. And he's now coming to a team where everybody is fighting for chairman. You know, it's
exactly.
It's a bit weird for him, you know.
Yeah.
What does he do? Does he join the fight of chairman when even Neymar, who is the current chairman, was once his boy? This is all the things you need to consider.
I think Mbappe is the current chairman, but we'll see whether he stays as chairman.
And that's the problem. Mbappe is obviously stalking, making it obvious that he'd rather be in Madrid than sees Messi as a...
No, but I don't agree. I think Mbappe's performances have been far from that. You know, yes, there's
Mbappe is talking. The talking I mean is that he's playing what he wants to play.
But he's giving PSG the results. He's scoring goals. He's creating assists. I mean, he's creating goals as well. So, I mean, where would you...
Yes, well, can I say a question?
Mm-hmm.
Playing for a team, right? The results speak. There is no way they should have had a draw in Bruges. That team should not have been able to beat PSG if Mbappe was playing for PSG. Because when you are a focal point of defenders, you can't tell me when you enter a channel and draw two defenders to you, you don't know you should drop the ball back for somebody who is the face. At that point in time, you should be thinking of such things. I mean, crosses to the edge of the box, passes diagonals to the outside of the box so that people can run onto and meet it, passes to the edge of the box so people can pick it up in space and cause trouble. You've already drawn the defense one way, but you insist you have to make the run. You know, so it's a lot of wasted of chances, a lot of wasted opportunities. You know, if you watch PSG's games again, you see Mbappe has created so many spaces with his movement and has refused to use those spaces. Things that, as much as I hate to say, Di Maria would never do.
I think I agree with you in the sense that Di Maria, Neymar, and Messi would be more balanced than, of course, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. But Mbappe did come off injured against Club Brugge, so we should see him. We should see Messi play with Di Maria and Neymar. Let me just run through other results. Sheriff Tiraspol, the Moldovan team, who actually do not recognize themselves as Moldovans. Sheriff. They beat Shakhtar Donetsk by 2-0. And interestingly enough, a guy called Adama Traore scored. I'm beginning to think that we'll sign the wrong Adama. Maybe, just maybe. Real Madrid got a last-minute goal against Inter Milan.
That guy. You don't know
Sorry?
who that guy is?
Who?
You don't know who that guy is?
Who? Adama
Last
Traore?
Nations Cup that came up for the Adama Traore of Wolves.
The last what?
Last Nations Cup, you don't remember? Adama Traore, not this Traore in Wolves, sorry. You know there's another Adama Traore in Spain, I think. He came up, this Adama Traore came up for that. No, sorry, in France. This
In
Adama
France.
Traore came up for that Adama Traore. Yeah.
Or maybe in Metz.
At the
Yeah. Maybe at the Nations Cup.
For that one. Yeah, and there was a bit of confusion because people thought they made a mistake. So it was either Adama came up for Adama Traore.
Well, at least
And I remember
he's
us saying, why I said this was, I remember us saying that day that Adama Traore should not have played for Spain. So would have had 3 Adama Traores on the pitch at once. That would have been nice.
That would have been interesting to look at. Real Madrid, 2 teenagers combining to get the last-minute goal against Inter Milan and starting off with a good result. Maybe not a false start in this case. Like now,
Are you going to apologize to me now?
For what?
2 or 3 years ago, I called Vinicius Junior as going to be a great player.
But it was Rodrigo that scored.
No, I'm talking about Vinicius' performances this season in all matches.
Oh yeah.
Not even the.
Yeah, but I sided with the Spanish media in saying that he was inconsistent, I mean.
How old was he? Remember how old he was?
Yeah, that time I think it was
2-3 years ago.
I think it was 18.
17,
18. No, because he couldn't have been 17 because they won't have let him leave Brazil, so it was 18.
18 fresh from South America, and you were judging him at Real Madrid.
No, I wasn't judging him. It was his second season I was judging him.
He was only starting because Hazard and Bale refused to be adults.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, with him Benzema this season should be able to carry Real Madrid all the way in terms of trying to contend for a title. And let me just.
I wouldn't have agreed with you 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but I think that Camavinga put some energy needed in that middle.
Yeah.
So now you might have a point.
But let me use this as a segue to one of the games that I want us to look at. Valencia against Real Madrid. And that, I think, is the biggest game in the La Liga this weekend because Jose Balados has done fantastically at Valencia. 10 points at the moment, tied on points with Real Madrid. It's a game where, I think, honestly, as much as people wouldn't rate it, but I think it's 2 heavyweights coming against each other. Can this game determine Real Madrid's title ambitions if they can get the win, or would a Valencia win just be a bump on the road for them?
Biola, what's the Spanish word for all stars?
For all stars?
For false stars.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Valencia, I think.
Valencia. Yeah, no.
I think it's Valencia. Never has there been a history that has had so many false starts. It's ridiculous. In the days of Hector Coupe,
but they've won the league. They've won the league with Benitez, didn't they? They won the league with Benitez, right?
So I had a midfield that had Baraja, Albelda, and I had Joaquin, Rupete, Vicente. It was a pretty solid team. Raul, Albiol, all of them, But since then, Valencia has flattered to the peak year after year. Every year we say this at the beginning of the season. Valencia have 3 wins from 3. They look like they're going to be the men. Valencia have 4 wins from 4. And sometimes they even get to February, March in Champions League positions, maybe even contending for the title. And then they are fighting for Europa on the last day. Look, take my prediction, right? Whatever happens today is inconsequential. I think the Real Madrid at the end of the season will be challenging for the title. And I think that once again, Valencia will give their fans hard palpitations.
But I don't think the expectations are to finish in a European position, at least for Valencia. But Jose Balados is a fantastic manager. We've seen him a lot at Getafe, and we've seen him overachieve at Getafe. So it should be something to look for. It's almost like Simone Inzaghi now at Inter. Yes, he's not won a trophy yet, but it could be a good move.
Remember Betis coach going to Barcelona and how fantastic Betis was, and how
yes.
But he started well, and he got broke into Barcelona. He started well. Same thing. I hope it's not a step too much. for him.
No, Valencia
That's
can't
all.
be because Valencia are sort of in a decline, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
But they're still Valencia.
Yeah, they're still Valencia. Yeah, the pressure is always still there. The pressure is definitely always still there. Let's go to the what I'd call the what's the word now? Where is Barcelona? The Catalan side of Spain,
Yeah.
and talk about how Bayern demolished Barca. Let me bring Dean in on this one. Dean, is it too early to call Bayern Champions League favorites? Or are we still sticking with the PSG Messi prediction and Manchester City Pep prediction in terms of Champions League favorites?
Okay, so I still think that PSG has a good chance, but I will not say that they are favorites. I prefer to say Bayern Munich. Honestly, I think with the level of, we all know that they have been consistent in the past couple of years in the Champions League. It was just unfortunate what happened last season.
Yeah.
But then you said it's because you said Bayern Munich, but we still have strong contenders. Chelsea are still in the mix. We know Man City will try and win this thing again. But I'm afraid, even though Ronaldo is in Manchester United right now, we're probably just going to get to quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Not that I want to rub it in your face, but let's face it.
Based on the other teams,
yeah.
you would probably say United would probably be quarterfinalist and end it there.
Exactly. So I'll probably go with.
Hello? Oh, we've lost Dean. But we'll try and see if we can get back to us. But okay, now Dean, you were saying something. You'd go with what? Connection issues. Namdi. Oh, it seems like.
No, I think it's Biola's today.
Okay, it's actually me.
Biola, because I can hear you.
Yeah. It's actually me. I'm just saying that it was me.
you.
It was me. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
We're back.
Uh-huh.
We're back. Sorry. So yeah, Dean. Sorry.
Okay, so good. So my final three predictions are going to be, like I said, Bayern, Chelsea, and Manchester City. Then if I should throw in a wild card in the game, I'll probably throw in Real Madrid. You know.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
That's that for me.
Of course you would. But still, Namdi, no chances of Barca not finishing second in this group, right? Because Dynamo Kiev, Benfica, they should probably be not good enough to stop Barcelona from finishing second.
Unfortunately, La Liga is too weak for me because
it's too good for you to what?
I would to consider Barcelona a serious threat. They have a few decent guys, but I think letting Griezmann go might have been a big mistake.
I think it was a very
big mistake. This might have been the time when his leadership would have been appreciated. Look, you have so many runners.
Exactly what we were talking about, Biola, you remember?
You have Dembele. These are all runners. So who is the ball carrier, ball holder? Who is the intelligence in the middle there? You get who is that intelligence? Everybody is going to get the ball, go in a channel, try to beat a man and get to the box. Who's that guy that can stand 40 yards from goal and move the ball 10 yards, put a reasonable pass, get the one to get in the box. When he's found making a late run, has good finishing, what Messi used to do. This should have been Griezmann right now, playing in the first line or the number 10 position, which is his preferred position.
But now, if you look at it, right, I want to look at it from... Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I want to look at it from a financial perspective, right? Barca stand to gain about 60 to 65 million euros on Griezmann because, number one, his wages are off their books, and number two, Atletico have to pay 40 million in terms of transfer fees for him next summer. So, I mean, if you're Jose Laporta, you're thinking, doesn't that make a lot more sense than trying to probably do the impossible with keeping Griezmann on the books? You know, because no way they would have made that kind of money if they tried to sell him next summer. It probably would not have been possible. So, do you think it was more of a financial? Don't you think it was more of a financial decision that they had to just make?
It was a financial decision, but it was due to bungling on the part of the Barcelona board. And let me explain. Barcelona very poorly and very disrespectfully handled the Samuel Umtiti situation. Umtiti is a good high earner at Barcelona, and what they had to do was handle the situation well, and they would have been able to move on Umtiti. At his worst is still a 25, 30 million worth defender, get him off the book. Even there are a lot of Spanish clubs, even Atletico will have bought him. But you handled it
but not on
shabbily.
his wages.
Didn't let the guy play.
Not on his wages.
No. He's not the highest earner. But if you look at his wages over time, it adds up enough for you not to have needed to sell Griezmann. We're talking about who is the real problem in Barcelona with respect for the amount of money and lack of playing time. It's actually Dembele.
But there's no way they could get Dembele off. There was no way they could get rid of Dembele because he's out till November.
Just like the problem is this, it's money. Just like in City, a lot of offers were ready for City for 25 million. Barcelona were holding on for 35. 10 million is the reason why Griezmann had to leave Barcelona and why during the preseason friendly, Samuel City was getting booed for Barcelona because, again, as usual, the Catalan papers reported this as in City sitting on the bench to collect the king's ransom, costing Barcelona the chance to balance their books, and they blamed him for them selling Griezmann, rather than the fact that the Barcelona board did not handle their business well, and so that led to them losing Griezmann. So what now? Atletico are going to pay 40 million, get Griezmann back, keep João Felix. Like, Atletico are the only in end of the only winners are Atletico, honestly. And what did they do? Altered the shape of their football, got rid of Saul. Now they'll have two defensive midfielders, and Griezmann can play in that team. The way he should have been playing for Barcelona as the intelligent guy in the goal behind the country.
Well, I mean, he hasn't really hit the ground running at Atletico. I'll say that because, it takes time.
He basically so preseason with Barcelona.
Yeah, so it takes time. Let's skip Sevilla's group because no one cares. And go to Chelsea's group.
That's unfair.
Yeah, but I mean, Sevilla drawing against. Okay, let's talk about their game. The game against Salzburg was very interesting. 4 penalties, 2 scored, 2 missed, and the German youngster Karim Adeyemi, who has finally gotten his breakthrough season thanks to Hyun Kyung Chan, the Korean guy in Wolves now leaving, and also Patson Daka leaving. He's now the one that's striking at Red Bull Salzburg. It's an exciting young team to watch at Salzburg. So if you're really interested in watching prospective youngsters, making their name at the Austrian league, it's something to look at. But the penalties against Salzburg, even though it was one player that won all of them, I mean, it's fair to say that it was very lazy and clumsy defending from Sevilla. Really no reason why any of those penalties should have been considered in the first place.
Biola, I really agree with you, but I'm going to agree with you this time. Nobody cares.
Okay, so Chelsea, let's wrap Champions League. I mean, we've all been talking about the Champions League all through, but Chelsea, Zenit, St. Petersburg, 1-0. Juve, obviously, beating Malmo by 3-0. That one, no money cares. Let's talk about Lukaku, Namdi. Is he the best striker in the world now? I would put him in top 3 with Lewandowski and Benzema, but can you argue that he's number 1 in the world at the moment?
He's the top striker, and is he the top goal scorer in the league he's playing?
I think he should be around there. He's
How many goals
he's
has
not.
he scored in the league?
I think he has like 3 goals in the league. He has 3 goals in the league.
So he's still behind the midfielder. Is he the top goal scorer in the Champions League?
He's not.
Good. And he has Havertz, Werner, Mount, the supply
Pulisic,
chain
Ziyech.
crazy.
Yeah. But look, let's look at it like this. Let's look at it like this.
Lukaku has improved, right? Improved greatly. He's a top striker. My fear is that let's not talk about him and let's remove the pressure. We saw what pressure did to him at Old Trafford. He was bringing in goals, but he couldn't bring a ball down to his feet. Luckily for him, Chelsea play more to his strength. Get the ball in front of him, get him to put it in space. Chelsea don't depend on him to hold the ball with the back to go. My only worry is that in games when they need that, he will disappoint them.
No, but he did. He held his back to goal a lot of times in the game against Zenit. He played a bit of that target man role.
When we talk of holding the ball with your back to go, we're talking of when Tarkowski or Benny is the person behind you. We're talking of when Johnny Evans or Yonche is behind you. We're talking of when Maguire is behind you. We're talking of when Van Dijk is behind you. Forget Maguire, forget like these are the elite guys. We're talking of the Tarkowskis, the Bennies, the real brutes in England.
Yeah.
Those are the guys you want to get the ball behind. I don't think Zenit is the best test. But I think that the Champions League will prove test. I think he has improved, but I'm looking for that consistent striking form like he had with Martinez at Inter. People really don't realize the amount of work that Lautaro put in for Lukaku to get those numbers. Who is going to be that foil for him? That's the question. Who is going to be that foil?
You see, so this is the thing, right? Yes, Chelsea got their highest goal scorer was Jorginho last season with 7 goals. But I think
all penalties.
But I think that Lukaku makes a difference in terms of giving them that opportunity to be title contenders.
Lukaku makes anything better. That's the honest truth. Right now, Lukaku makes anything better. Anything. Of course, except United and you know why.
Yeah. Well,
you know why he can't make it better.
Yeah, because he doesn't play the way that those teams, would need him to play.
Liverpool, City, United, when they are counter-attacking, you need to have some sort of supreme ball control. Because people are throwing balls at you at odd angles and odd corners. Fullbacks are running behind you into space to hit the ball. The attacks of these three teams is a madness. Everybody's getting it. And a player like Lukaku just wants to do his dirty job, get the ball in the net. Very underrated, but one of the most important roles in football. So he makes Chelsea better because Chelsea missed it. He makes them better. So there are games where he would win for them that they lost.
So now that let's use this to talk about the game they play this weekend. I think it's this weekend against Tottenham. Are we seeing a case where Chelsea can really, really, put themselves out as title contenders this season, with a very good result against Tottenham tomorrow? Or are Spurs going to use Chelsea to bounce back? Let's not forget that Spurs have more players on the injury list than in their squad at the moment, But even with that, hello, Dean. There's noise in your background.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, Biola, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Dean.
So there's only 2 points between number 1 and number 8 in the EPL. So for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we are not going to know who the contenders are, except look, even with a lot of people can afford to have 4 calamitous weeks between now and February and still be tight. That's how close everything is.
Yeah.
What will happen now, which I will agree with you, is statement of intent. How you play, make people work. Southampton's full sit behind, park the bus, got Newcastle feeling confident to go out at United, and they paid dearly. City losing to Spurs, a terrible false start that any blind man would have seen a mile away. That was just a false flag. Unfortunately, Arsenal and the like got brave, went at City, and when you go at City, full gongo, there's only one result. It's not a debate. If I'm watching a match, and after the first 5 minutes, you're going at City, right there and then, I'm betting straight for City over 2.5. Is that bad? So it's very early days. This is going to be one of the tightest seasons. We're going to see the people with the big squads really come to the fore, which is where. Sorry to deviate from the Chelsea talk, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
When the squad to become important, what else for Arsenal? Sounds crazy, right?
Well, I don't know. And well, maybe, because now I'm going to ask a question because funny enough, right? What you're saying isn't too far-fetched, because I was telling someone that Tottenham could be playing Spurs, and by the time they'd be 3 points behind Spurs and could actually go above Spurs. And a game week ago, Spurs had 9 points and Arsenal had 0. And all of a sudden, Arsenal could probably go above top Spurs. Top Spur, like people would call them. Which would be very, very interesting. But I don't know if Arsenal have what it takes, because when you're talking about teams that have squad depth, we're calling Man United, we're calling Chelsea, we're calling Man City. I wanted to say Liverpool, but I don't know how far they can go. But it seems like Klopp is trying to push his depth. He's trying to push his depth. Yeah, he doesn't really have it.
Is a good first 16 three people hanging around.
Yeah, that's
doesn't like
where, and we saw it, with Joe
too much
Gomez
attention.
playing against AC Milan. Van Dijk was rested, but he doesn't have
Yep.
any fullbacks in terms of replacements
Yeah.
except from Tsimikas. No right back. The midfield is
Yep.
okay, but Origi, Minamino, and Oxlade-Chamberlain don't really give you any form of
Nope.
of fear. So
I don't understand the Shaqiri decision, but we'll let it
no,
go.
I think it made sense. I think Shaqiri needed to leave. He needed to play football. I mean, on a personal level, I thought Shaqiri should leave.
If a Shaqiri is leaving, my problem was not Shaqiri leaving. My problem was you're going to get rid of Shaqiri. Use that chance to also get rid of Origi.
They
and
tried.
Get one
Klopp
back.
said it. Klopp said that they tried to sell him, but they couldn't get anyone to sign him. So
The only thing I would say is that in their front three, right, they have one man that can play for any of the three, who is Diogo Jota.
yes,
He can play for any of the three.
yeah,
So that's a good thing for them. And they don't really like to rotate that front three.
Mhm.
So why I mentioned Arsenal, and look at it this way, right? So Arsenal play Burnley this weekend, right?
yeah,
And this Arsenal play Burnley. Now, when they play Burnley, they are going to be starting with Aubameyang, Saka, Odegaard, Pepe, Partey, Lokonga, Kenny, Gabriel, White, and
Yeah.
Tomiyasu.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Notice all the names I've not said.
No
Martinelli,
Xhaka, Martinelli,
Gazelle,
Smith Rowe,
Smith Rowe,
yeah.
who I think is their best player. Personally.
But Namdi, don't you think that these guys are just above average players that just would show up on the pitch but not give you the results?
So when you get to a time when your Leicesters and Watfords and people are tiring out, and Arsenal have that run just after Christmas, they are one of the teams that have a squad that is almost as good as their first 11. You might not rate the first 11 very highly, but the gap between the first 11 and those coming off the bench, it's not
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
look at all the positions and they seem to have they're almost equal in quality. You take off Odegaard, Smith Rowe is not gonna feel terrible. You move Aubameyang, Lacazette can come in. There's boys that can come in and do the business. Take out Pepe, Martinelli is not a slouch.
Mm.
They have boys. They have Maitland-Niles. They have they have some boys that could come on. So these are the things that I've been looking at and saying, look, and Ramsdale might not be the best keeper in the world, but having him and Leno is fantastic. Because they're always as good as
He's had back-to-back relegations though, but we won't dwell on that.
Come on.
We won't dwell on that.
Anybody can have back-to-back relegations.
Mm.
Doesn't make it terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
If relegations are not big football determined class, Jamie Vardy wouldn't be a legend at Leicester and a Premier League winner, multiple Golden Boot winner.
Mm.
Look at Ramsdale as the individual. Fantastic player.
Well,
Grealish had his relegation from Villa, and he's worth 100 million just 2-3 seasons later.
mm. Well, it's time for us to go, Namdi. I'll just give you 30 seconds. United against West Ham. Do you see United taking the results there?
A bit more confident with the fact that there's no Antonio, because
Yeah.
Antonio is the kind of player United play against. United held Newcastle effortlessly but couldn't cope with the Maximan.
Mm-hmm.
When there's that one that is on his own, making those devastating runs, Now it's just the question of who picked up Jared Bowen. Luckily, the third guy who would have been a problem for us is on the United side, who is Jessie Lingard. I hope McTominay can play because that midfield of Rice and Sutek would easily handle Bruno Fernandes and Pogba. So United need to have Max Fred in that middle for the simple reason that you have to force those guys to come up and try to do something and get the ball over them, get runners behind them. This is the game that Kufal is a very influential player. You need to get the ball. We need to stop playing the ball to Sancho, and we need to get the ball in the space behind him for him to run at. I can never understand why United is on playing the ball to Sancho. I think he's been given some sort of free role that's not really working. Do what he likes. Pick him out on the way, let him skin past people and get in the box. Keep it. That works. Him telling is the example. Keep it simple, keep it 100. You need to get these guys, get them behind the fullback, get them behind Cresswell and Cooper. You do that, if you can keep Cooper and Cresswell defending, there's very little West Ham can do to hurt you.
Okay, so I'm guessing they're using it on the fence for that one. But that's it. We have to go now. Thanks very much, Namdi. Thanks very much, Dean and Bayo, who joined us on the show. This has been the Football Guys Show. Of course, my name is Biola Obiwole, and we'll be back again next week to talk more about football. But until now, by 1 o'clock on the other side of this, we'll be doing the Real Afrobeat show. So you want to join us for that? I'll still be around to give you that, and you should be able to learn a lot about Afrobeat and just chill and relax. Follow Boom Radio on Twitter at Boom Radio NG1 or at Boom Radio NG, and of course on Instagram at Boom Radio NG. Also follow Boom Radio on Facebook at Boom Radio. And of course, you can always subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can be streaming live right now. I'm live on YouTube, so let me just wave to the camera. You can see it's always there to watch and enjoy the show.